Hi, friends, and welcome to the Voices of MCC podcast. Our hope is to help you understand better the beliefs and practices of MCC through the lives of our members. And I am here on location at the Southern Baptist Convention with my wife, Julie, our daughter, Chesed, and Spencer VanSickle. We are the messengers from MCC to the SBC this year, and we are happy to have this time to connect with you. We are actually in the exhibitor hall, and hopefully you're able to hear us on this brief call as we get a chance to share with you about the SBC. So I'm going to get us started with just a couple of stories and illustrate the Southern Baptist Convention for you who perhaps are newer, don't know about the convention, and then ask others to chime in here just for 10, maybe 15 minutes, something like that or so. When we were coming from our hotel, I'm recording now on Monday, but on Sunday afternoon, Julie and I were walking by a couple and said they were from New York. The pastor had been a pastor in the area of Niagara Falls for about 30 years. And their church has only been a part of the SBC for 5 years. And I said, what made you bring your church into the SBC? And he said, church planting. We were trying to plant a church in Pittsburgh. We were kind of working with some folks in that. He had a family who had moved to Pittsburgh, and they just didn't have resources, and heard that the SBC did and began that partnership. And he's been coming now for almost 10 years to these conferences. And I was just blown away. The first person I talked to recognizes the value of the SBC enough to bring his church into the SBC, and more stories from that. Jules, I'm going to just turn to you for a moment here. You grew up in the SBC, so your earliest remembrances of the Southern Baptist Convention?
I think for me, probably missions. Just always knew we had GAs, Girls in Action, and just knew that any missionaries specifically, but I knew that our church gave money to support missions around the world. So to me, that's what I think of when I think of the SBC, based on just being part of an SBC church from my early days.
And you've been here hanging out at the Midwestern Seminary Spiritual College booth. So all the entities like the seminaries, colleges, International Mission Brothers have booths, and we're here greeting folks, connecting. Have there been any interesting stories for you, Jules, just that you've heard from folks as you've talked with folks who've come by the booth?
I'm trying to think. I've had some conversations with people, probably more just that are involved in the local church. I haven't heard any mission stories, but people that, are parts of local churches just around the country. And it's encouraging to hear different people in different places, just everybody doing their job where they're at.
We've had lots of time at the booth and connecting and remembering right now one pastor from Hawaii who has pastored a couple different kinds of churches on the islands of Hawaii and just became a part of the SBC. And he's walking around saying, wow, this is incredible. All these booths, you all take education seriously, because the other denominations, and some of them are evangelical denominations. He's been to their meetings on the mainland and nothing like this. And the fact that the cooperative program, including MCC, gives every week to the cooperative program, and that enables students who are members of SBC churches to attend our schools at a roughly half tuition rate. And that makes a huge difference over the long haul of a master's degree, especially. So Chesed, I'm going to turn to you and just think with you about at MBTS for a moment, and then your kinds of conferences. So your role at MBTS.
Yeah, in addition to being a student, I'm in the Accelerate program, but also work on our communications team as our project manager.
So working on the communications team makes the wheels public. So all that we do under the hood needs to be known, so recruit students, so other entities in the SBC and broader evangelicalism can know what's going on and promote. And so all the stuff that looks cool that our school produces, you have a hand in that. And you serve in some ways in that in MCC behind the scenes serving in different ways. You've been at the booth a good bit. Any stories of folks that you've gotten to connect with?
And I can't think of any that are like super remarkable, but I think it has been encouraging to hear story after story of people that are serving in local church contexts from all around the country that are just doing the week in, week out work of ministry, and being able to see them just like encouraged and refreshed here is always really sweet to see people when they get to be surrounded by other like-minded believers when maybe in their context they don't get that luxury. People that are in context, like talked to some people from New England today where this just isn't the kind of culture, the air they're breathing in a more hostile place. So just getting to see people encouraged by being around so many other believers and people that hold the same values as them has been sweet to see them. Yeah, just be filled up by it. It's been sweet.
So you haven't seen people like angry and fighting?
Not yet, no. It's only the first day though, so
Yeah.
who knows?
Well, I say that because what most people hear about the SBC is just anger on social media. It's not that way at all. Like, there are so many people just smiling and hugging one another and encouraging one another and connecting. And especially if you're a part of this for very long, people, this is their vacation. Pastors want to come here even for their vacation, some of them, to bring their families and connect. There's a kids program that goes on, and it's just so. And it's the cooperative program that makes all this possible. So it's people giving, churches like ours making a financial commitment every month, and our elders do that. And so I'm here with Spencer VanSickle, also a messenger from our church. So the four messengers from our church, Spencer, Chesed, Julie, me, and we'll be voting on various issues that will come up in business sessions tomorrow and Wednesday. Today is just kind of a preview, and there are meetings for just pastors and sermons today. Spencer is here. Spencer has been working at the booth. Spencer got here Friday morning very early to start setting up a booth that's very large and works in admissions and recruiting. Spencer, any stories so far for you of folks that have gripped you or stood up?
I can't tell you the number of conversations I've had with people who have been in pastoral ministry at their church for 20 plus years. It has been a ton. And you just see faithfulness. Everyday, mundane faithfulness. And that's just everyday life for them. One of my favorite conversations to have at the booth is, how long have you been in your position? What are the good things? What are the hard things? And it is just always an encouragement to hear those stories. So none in particular that stand out, but I've had that conversation 50, 60 times in the last couple of days. And it's just encouraging, really encouraging.
It is that everyday faithfulness that matters so much. Some of these pastors, and you just being there and encouraging them in that, really fuels them, because in our day, it's almost as if there's not something super exciting, banner worthy, our world doesn't give attention to it, but everyday faithfulness just matters so much. And just plodding on. I've just finished with the interns, William Carey, about his missionary fellowship and the partnerships that he had. And he told people at the end of his life, if anyone writes anything about me, tell them I can plod. And that is remarkable. That's what we're after. So the SBC is lots of churches who voluntarily cooperate. There's not a top-down mechanism. Nothing that's decided at a meeting necessarily is top-down. Now, churches have to, in a friendly spirit, cooperate and agree, and they participate in prayer and resource sharing, including money and resources of all kinds, facilities that can voluntarily be shared. But we do that with a goal of missions. And tomorrow morning, I know, Spencer, we've talked about this before, one of the primary blessings of coming to SBC is seeing IMB commissioning service. Spencer, just unpack that briefly, what that's like, and then we'll wrap up from there.
Easily the best part of the convention as a whole. You see one of the SBC entities at work. You see anywhere from, last year was probably, I think, 50 or so individuals and couples commissioned by the IMB. This is their formal send-off. So they've been training for probably about 7 years, and now they're getting into nations all over the world. Most of these people are behind a white screen with fake names. You don't get to know their names because they're going to places where If you saw their face or if that live stream got on the internet, they'd be kicked out of the country at best and martyred at worst. So a really sweet opportunity to see, hey, we're giving to this cooperative program, and that's allowing this individual that I'm seeing right now to go to India or the Middle East. And it's just a really sweet moment.
Some of the folks that we saw in Indonesia, your very good friends, had that experience behind the screen, fake names a couple of years ago.
Yeah, last year.
Yeah, last year. Time flies. Tomorrow there'll be some graduates from MBTS who I talked with just last night, who there will be a white screen. Where they're going, they can't have their names published. But it's, again, it's the cooperative program. It's churches like MCC making a commitment to make that possible in a way that can be very efficient and a blessing. So I just wanted to pull aside, commandeered Chesed and Spencer and Julie from the booth, give me 10 minutes to update MCC so they can be encouraged to know what's going on. So thank you guys for taking the time. And MCC, thank you for your support. You have to understand a lot of what you see on media, social media, or major media outlets about this meeting is just, there may be a contentious moment or two, but it is just a giant family reunion around the Word and around the gospel. And much of what is good in evangelicalism today really is because of the Southern Baptist Convention. That's just an objective statement.
If nothing else, the Southern Baptist Convention annual meeting this year, there's at least 11,000, just over 11,000 last time I saw, registered people to vote. So even more, probably closer to 15,000 when you add in kids and wives and just family members and guests. Close to 15,000 people who are here because they believe in Christ and the power that he has to save and to get that message to people here and around the globe. If nothing else, the SBC is a building full of people who believe that, and you have something in common with everyone. And it really is just a giant family reunion.
With that, friends, we'll leave you. Thanks to Alex Volkman for producing these, and Adam Anderson, Kip Sheffield for their musical introductions and conclusions. Chesed, Spencer, Julie, thank you for your time with us here. Until next time, God bless you, friends.